It's the Saturday before Pebble Beach, and here we are at the Carmel Mission Basilico San Carlos. And this is where Morgan every year has the Carmel Mission Concours. You know how you go to car shows, you get to walk around, see all the cars, decide the one you want to take home, and meet some really cool car guys. Well, this year, Morgan has bestowed a very interesting honor upon me. I am the judge. So, what do you got here?
I got a 2005 Aero 8, the first one in the United States owned by a customer.
Well, it's a 59. It was a hill climber.
So it's a matchless, MX4. It's a 34.
We have been at a street corner in Las Vegas where there were 5 people taking pictures of this car at the same time.
I mean, this is the Batmobile. So, you got this as a surprise birthday present that just showed up at dinner one night.
For me, it was going back in time. I learned to drive in the UK on a Morgan, on a 4.4.
I took the red eye to Boston, went to the dealer, got to the dealer, and he said, "Do you want to go for a ride in it?" And I had no idea. I thought it was just like a static car. I went for riding it, which was just a static, and then got back on the plane and made it home the same day. So but I mean, because you can't buy something sight unseen.
I said to Peter at the dinner, 90th anniversary of Morgan, I went to him and I said, "I want the first Aero 8 in the U.S." And he harumphed, the English harump, that thing they do, And I ordered it, paid the deposit, and got it in 2005 right here at Pebble Beach.
My favorite car I've ever owned, and I've owned a lot. I even learned how to drive on a Miura. That's my father's car.
On a Miura?
Miura, yeah. SV. So I have high bars.
I want your life. This is awesome. This is your daily driver, and you want to drive a car on a Lamborghini.
When I sold a house, I bought a boat, but I kept a second on the house for about $6,500 and for a couple years. And then in 1980, Dennis paid off the second. I go the day he paid it off, I'm looking at Auto Week and there's a 3-wheeler for $6,500. I go well, I didn't have the money yesterday. And
might as well get one.
Might as well get rid of the money right now. So.
I like your financial planning. Let me ask you, and I always like to ask this question. Were you always a Morgan guy, or did you see this and say, wow, I gotta have that?
I became a Morgan guy 15-ish years ago. I had adored little British cars for ages and ages, and we decided that we wanted to get something, and we got a +4.
Had a few friends over for dinner. He gave me a little birthday card, and I opened the card, and there was a key on the inside. And the inside of the card said, "You better check the driveway." And I about had a heart attack because I thought it was a VW Bug in the driveway because that was what was on the front of the card. Went outside, and I haven't stopped smiling since.
Wow.
I just love it.
And were the shoes that matched the car a surprise
The
as well?
shoes were this year's birthday present from my daughter. This was last year's birthday present.
They said, well, how many airbags have we got? 82. That's how many we'll make. So there's only 82 of these in the U.S.
And then it came out, and then I drove it about a block, and then took it apart. This was in 2000. It got finished 2 weeks ago. Well,
literally?
about 2 days ago,
So the
really.
paint is probably still drying.
Oh no, the paint was put on about 3 years ago.
And my son and I, he was 7 at the time, picked it up. And thank God about a half hour later he threw up at the house we were running, not in the car.
Hey, as long as he's throwing up somewhere else.
He threw up somewhere else,
Yeah.
he didn't throw up in the car.
Put 260,000 miles on it in 12 years. My high mileage year was 38,000 when I had a 130-mile commute 6 days a week, and then drove across country.
So I was looking at a Morgan, a TR4, Sunbeam Tiger, Austin Healey. Some of them were just out of range, but the Morgan was too impractical. I bought the TR4. So anyway.
I think that's the first time I've heard the term TR4 and practical.
Yeah,
Same sentence.
that was very practical.
Yeah.
Roll-up windows, had a top.
When we saw these things, we really wanted one, particularly with the SuperSport.
Oh, it's...
And
Matthew outdid himself here, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And have you always been like a Morgan gal? Have you been
You know
to
what?
Morgans?
I am so embarrassed to say that before I got my Morgan, I didn't know what a Morgan was until I saw one in the driveway. And the next week, we were up here at this show last year, and I said, I've got to go find my peeps.
There's a fellow in Seattle who's a metal worker, and he does rust repairs and all types of things like that. Anyway, I told him what I wanted to do. He built himself an English wheel. He learned how to use the wheel. I went to work with him, so I was his apprentice and his supervisor, and he was a talent. And together we got it done.
So that was probably the most expensive internship you've ever dealt with.
Well, I guess.
Now I gotta see.
Yes.
Okay, this is the test. Ready for the? Oh, you passed the test.
What's the test?
Manual transmission.
Oh, of course, my
I
God,
like
yes.
this guy.
Why would you not get a
Well, Charles and I had words about this. When I went over, I said, Charles, I want a Super Sport with a manual transmission. He goes, no, you want the one with the automatic.
I
You
agree.
bang.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're
no, you want a
totally-
manual
you're totally right.
transmission.
You're
If the
totally
car
right.
looks like this, I want a
Yeah,
clutch.
it's-
And those little stickers for the cars are for the amount of cars I've taken out. I couldn't find a Cadillac sticker, but the worst one was there was a guy who was just tailgating me in traffic and wouldn't get off me, and we were on this long hill, and I heard this big boom, boom, boom go under the car, and a big bolt that holds the alternator had fallen off, and it went right through his radiator, and like in a cloud of steam and squealing brakes, he went to a stop, and I just
Wait, so the parts fell off your car?
I went through
And
his
you-
radiator.
So you are celebrating the parts coming off your car
Yeah,
and
those are-
damaging
that's
other
the
people.
cars I've taken out.
So it's like a very rudimentary smokescreen. So so basically you bought it, you drive it, you enjoy it.
I drive it pretty regularly. The most recent stuff I've done to it is the old body had like holes in it, so I had a lower body made. Local guy made it.
We saw the prototypes. We drove down to Dennis's, test drove the one that he had there, and when we were out with it, we took it up Pacific Coast Highway to Malibu, and I brought it around and finally had a place where I could absolutely gun it. And I came around a really nice turn in sport mode. The exhaust was popping, and I set off 3 car alarms behind me, and you could hear those as you went down. And we both said, yes!
And we just looked at you and said, gotta have it. Went and back and wrote a check.
I love that you're so into it as well.
So I went and found the Morgan crowd. There were just a few cars here, but June this year we went to England, and I went to the factory at Malvern. I did the whole tour, and I saw the birth certificate in my car.
It's a wonderful place, isn't it?
It was
Yeah.
great.
And I got to tell you, you're rocking the hat well too.
Oh, thanks.
It works well with the whole
Thanks.
thing. So we're all car guys, aren't we? We would love to meet a woman that would support our car habit, that would just agree to us going out and spending ridiculous amounts of money on whatever car we want. Morgan here meets the love of his life. She loves this man so much, she went through trying to find a Morgan, the right Morgan for him. She went through trying to find classic car insurance, people to look after the car to make sure it was the right purchase. She went out and bought the car, made it a surprise, presented it to him, and what was your response?
You're so irresponsible.
Doing this car, I mean, you know, to get the contours right, there's a lot of man-hours to go into it. And so, you know, you pound and you shrink and you stretch, and it's really difficult. And we're trying to figure out, you know, in the day, like, how the heck they did it. So I said to Steve Barnes, I said, you know, how did they do it? And he said, you know, when he started with Morgan, he was like 17 years old, and all the old guys were around, but he was out in the pubs, and he never asked those guys that. And to this day, he'd love to know how they did it also, because, you know, those guys are all gone.
I have a 73 Morgan too that I bought new. I still have it. And it's bright yellow. And that was painted after Mick Jagger's car.
Wow.
Bright yellow. I said I want the same color as Mick Jagger. That was
Okay.
40 years ago. I've owned Morgans for 40 years.
Okay, so then I expect you to start dancing like Mick Jagger.
I can't. I'm fat and old.
Do you get any pickup from the carburetors a little faster?
Oh, it's much faster.
Yeah.
And it's got a hot cam, and it's 2.2 liters and a 2 liter. And the airfoil, the connecting rods were all airfoiled by the guy, and the inside of the block's all polished. The guy was a racer. So it had a lot of engine modifications.
And we're so afraid we're going to cause a wreck someday because on the highway, people pull up next to you, they drop back. There's no badge or mark on the back
no
end.
one knows what this car is.
And you know, you can't see that one, and unless you know. So I've actually today, for when we go out later, on my iPad, I wrote in the biggest characters I can, "It's a Morgan," so I can hold it.
You know, I'm going to tell Charles to send you a check every month for that. That's advertising.
We're halfway between LA and Santa Barbara. We're
Okay.
about 35 miles north of Los
Okay.
Angeles.
You should come visit
Westlake
our
is
home.
next.
It's a classic car museum in El Segundo.
In El Segundo?
Yep, we've got 150 cars in the collection.
Oh,
One
yeah,
of
I've
them's a
heard
Morgan.
about it.
What I found there is like these guys are generations.
Oh, yeah.
Like the father will will the job to the son and to the nephew. It's amazing. I met 3 generations of family working in the same factory.
Yeah.
And one of them, the kid had just started like a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's already banging out the tin on the back.
Oh yeah. Well, it's also, I mean, see them make a door. It's like artistry. I mean,
Oh, it's incredible.
You know, because you ever try anything like yourself?
I know, I've tried.
Yeah.
I do have a connection to these because I did an internship in Germany when I was in college, and I built BMWs as part of an internship for university.
Yeah.
So I built the accessory drives and connected the engines and transmissions to the then BMW.
So you really know. Okay, you really know. The
Oh, we
stuff
really
that-
beat the cars. Yeah. So when the show opens at the beginning,
Okay, I'll look for it, yeah, that's you.
That animation is my real life.
Oh, good.
There was a fellow in the Bay Area back in the early 60s, Lars Nielsen, I don't know. He had a drop hit. It was lovely. Everybody called it an MG.
Oh, yeah.
So he got one of these little English license plate things that said Morgan. He said he hadn't had it on there a week. Somebody came up to him and said, "Gee, Mr. Morgan, that's a nice MG you got."
Ready? Stand back.
Did you ever do the rear woodwork for you know?
I'm going to say to you,
Yeah.
put a pin in that. I got a surprise for you. Some of you guys may have seen an episode that I did where I actually went and built a Morgan. Sir, I actually plied wood together, bent wood, and cut it myself. This is your award. Any interesting stories about the car? You know,
Yeah, it was meant to be delivered, then it was speared by a forklift in Heathrow.
You want to see it with a top up?
Sure, actually, I would like to see that. Okay. How'd you guys meet?
We met on the internet.
Really? Not
But
like a
back-
Morgan meet.
No, but it was back in the
Mid-'80s,
80s.
yeah.
When there wasn't much
Yeah.
internet around.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna. I may have something to do with your meeting. I used to work for Prodigy.
Ah, we both worked for Digital Equipment Corporation.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
So-
Wow, so we're going way back.
Way back.
Way
now we
back.
just need someone from Wang Computers.
That's
right, yeah.
Exactly.
You met on the internet in the 80s,
Yeah.
and here you are at an electric blue Morgan.
Yeah.
Now that's a love story.
It is. It is.
And now it really wants to. There we go. The wiper on a Morgan. There you go. I'm surprised that was available.
Yeah.
Do you know how much that would cost you in the UK to get that number plate? More than the car. And I'm not even joking about that.
No.
Both SUPR and SUPA were available, and SUPA is probably available super long.
So get it for the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to charge you a consulting fee for that. Where are you guys based?
San Jose.
Okay. So you know the way to San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad.
I worked at Apple and made sure that I parked it next to Johnny Ives' Aston Martin.